Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. All presenters and participants, welcome back to the second panel sessions, which will start at 1 to 4 p.m. Jakarta time. In this session, we will have 6 panels. We'll have some interesting topics to discuss like humanity and religion, and then there will be democracy and militarism, also about humanity and religions. Then we're going to talk about political identity and ethnocentrism in contemporary political landscape. Then there is also a topic about political identity and ethnocentrism in contemporary political landscape. And also for the last topic will be the same. Then, without further ado, I will present to you the second panel session, and I would like to have you to go to the breakout rooms where you were assigned to. Enjoyed all the sessions today. Thank you very much. A kind reminder for the presenters who haven't joined the breakout rooms. I would like to request you to join the breakout rooms immediately. And for the panel 9, the room used would be the main room. So you don't need to join the breakout, any other breakout rooms, because the main rooms is going to be used in this case. Thank you.
Okay, the audience, we still waiting for the participant, another participant to join our forum. Okay, the participant who wants to join other panel session, you can choose breakout room. There are 6 rooms, and you can one of them. Okay, dear audience, now we are going to start our parallel session. Have all of have ready? Okay. The Honorable Rector of Walisongo Islamic State University, Professor Dr. Imam Taufik MAG, the Honorable Dean of Faculty Social and Political Sciences, Dr. Misbah Zulfa Elizabeth M. Hum, the respectable all of the speakers, distinguished guests, fellow students, ladies and gentlemen. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thanks to our God Allah who give us mercies and blessings so we can attend and gather in this virtual room of parallel session of first Icon Demost 2021. On the Faculty of Social and Political Sciences, Walisongo Islamic State University, Semarang, in the Thursday, 16th of September 2021 at 1 till 4 p.m. today. Okay, makes this forum successful, please praying together. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, our parallel session. This topic is about democracy and militarism in post-COVID-19. I am Mas Rohatun from Department of Political Science, Wali Songo Islamic State University, is a moderator for this forum. It is my pleasure to be a moderator for a parallel session of International Conference on Democracy and Social Transformation with the program of this afternoon is as follows. In this occasion, we shall have outstanding presentation from our prominent presenters whom I believe shall enrich our insight and knowledge regarding the topic of this forum. Okay, I will be responsible for hosting this presentation today, and I'm glad to welcome our speakers today. The first speaker, Ibu Leni Winarni, Salma Nailatul Muna, and Mada Ashafa Putra from University of 11 Maret Semarang. And the second presenter, Bapak Martin Ha from Faculty of Social and Political Sciences, Diponegoro University. And the third speaker, Bapak Amin Farih, Bapak Endang Supriyadi, Ibu Ririh Megah Safitri, Bapak Muhammad Nuklir Barikelana, dan Ibu Nafisah from Faculty of Social and Political Sciences, Wali Songo Islamic State University. And the fourth speaker is our student, Kinan Wisaksena Gudawan. He is student from Faculty of Social and Political Sciences, Wali Songo Islamic State University. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to deliver about our rules from in this forum. That is, the first, all of the participants, please mute your microphone. And the second, every speaker has maximum 15 minutes to deliver your presentation. And the third, all of participants can ask via chat box or directly by click a tombol raise hand, and participant can ask after moderator give permission, and if many question, so a moderator may choose any question randomly. The first, all of the question will answer by speaker after delivering their presentation. Okay, without further ado, I would like to welcome our first presenter, Ibu Leni Winarni. Hello, Ibu. Is there here? Is she here in this our forum, or maybe Ibu Wada?
Sorry,
Who wants?
I'm Lenny. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, I'm not become a presenter on this panel, but
Yes.
the presentations will by Salma Nailatul.
Handle.
Yes.
Okay.
So I give her. Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Ibu Leni Winarni. Please to Ibu Salma. Time is yours. You can share your PPT.
Okay. Can I start it?
Yes.
Oke, bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good
Waalaikumsalam
afternoon,
warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
ladies and gentlemen, the Honorable Ms. Masrohatun as a moderator, all of presenter, all of attendees. Let me introduce myself. My name is Salmanel Tumuna, student from University of 11 Maret Surakarta. Before we started, I would like to thank you for the time given to us to present our research. Today, me and my friend Mada Asyafa Putra will present our research entitled Analyzing the Fall of Indonesian Government Speech Act During the Pandemic of COVID-19, written by Leni Winarni, Salmanel Tumuna, and Mada Asyafa Putra. Next, the abstract. Okay, this is our abstract. By declaring that COVID-19 is a threat to national security last year through the Speech Act, the government, as the main actor, made the issue a part of social construction process that the public should allow all the emergency policies to suppress the spread of COVID-19. However, the opposition or community groups who rejected or denied the COVID-19 have criticized the government's various policies. These articles find the Speech Act's ineffectiveness linked to the increase of identity politics in the name of religion as a rejection of policies to deal with the pandemic. At the same time, on one hand, the implementation of non-traditional security, seen as effective way, is also likely to spur controversy in Indonesia today. Next, introduction. The outbreak of COVID-19 pandemic has caused a global panic. This pandemic entails an enormous impact on health system and economy, politics, until religious activities. Debates have arisen among scientists and politicians, both how to overcome the pandemic, criticizing the state's policies, and so on. During the pandemic, the government issues several policies to stop the spread of COVID-19, such as large-scale social restrictions or PSBB, pembatasan sosial berskala besar, PSBB transition, enforcement of community activity restriction or PPKM, pemberlakuan pembatasan kegiatan masyarakat, emergency PPKM, and PPKM level 1 until 4. Almost all these policies in the beginning always sparked controversy. Numerous government policies, both written and unwritten, have generated controversy among the public like citizen, politician, and religious leader. People feel that the policies taken by central government limit their space for movement, mobilization, and their activities. He said that there are also many debates based on unsynchronizing between central government and local government policy, impact of polarization from the 2019 election. So this causes made many people to ignore the policies from the government. While the other research reveals that in public, there are a lot of people fully support the government's policy to reduce the impact of the pandemic. Our research used Speech Act theory, even though Speech Act are rooted in language, but in international relation, they are part of constructivism popularized by Nicholas Onoff. According to Onoff, a speech act is an act or behavior that the actor can practice through repetition and institutionalist rules. Hence, speech act become a fundamental meaning in the human act. In constructivist, act construct reality if it implies meaning, while meaning depends on rules. Onoff emphasized the importance of rules for social reality and their consequences for social theory. He said whether the actor, like state and the other constitution, would only be actors through the rules that provide alternatives. Social reality needs rules that reveal what humans ought to do. Onoff classifies speech act in 3 categories. First, assertive, a statement that derives from the conviction or faith which the speaker needs acceptance from the audience. Second, directive, accommodates the act of speaker to make the receiver do their comment. Third, commissive, means a speaker's commitment, declaration, the assertive and directive determine the rules to the audience. Thus, a reaction is a salient factor in deciding whether a speech act is success or not. But this communication only occurs in particular situation, and consequence of mutual convention limits it. Speech act creates and causes the rule to function. Okay, next will be presented by Mada.
Oke, Ibu Mada. Halo, Ibu Mada. Oke, Ibu Mada. Have you joined in this forum? Maybe Mbak
Yeah,
Sal. Oh, sorry.
actually, I'm
Mbak
Amel,
Mada.
yes.
Yes,
Yeah,
okay.
thank you for unmuting me. And
Yes.
I will continue the presentation. So our problem formulation is, what is the impact of the Government Speech Act on the level of citizen compliance with the COVID-19 policy? Does identity politics have a significant role in the effectiveness on the policy toward the society, especially after the issue of identity polarization after the 2019 presidential election? To address them, this paper will first, how is the Speech Act carried out by the government's policy to deal with COVID-19? Second, analyzing the resistance of community groups to policies as a result of political polarization after the 2019 presidential election. And the third, examining the impact of the implementation of COVID-19 policies on society. Next, we have finding and analysis, and this is the flow of government policies from time to time, specifically from March 2020 until July 2021. So from August and September 2021 will be discussed here. First, we have PSBB announced on March 31st, 2020, followed by prohibition of going home in Eid al-Fitr of 2020, started on April 24, 2020, followed by new normal agenda, which was issued on May 2020, and then PPKM, the tax effect on January 12 until 25th, 2021, and then pardon us for the swap, but it's first followed by PPKM Miko takes effect on February 9th to February 9th until February 22nd, 2021, and then prohibition of going home or mudik in Idul Fitri of 2021, which takes effect until from May 6 until 17, 2021, that continued until May 2024, 2021. And then we have emergency PPKM, which takes effect on July 3rd until 20th, 2021. And the last, we have PPKM level 4, which took effect on July 31st until 25th, 2021, continued until August 2nd, 2021. Of course, it's not just about the central government will impose some regulations, also about synchronization of central and regional government policies. Along with the central government policies described above, local government also shape their policies to support or improve what the central government has not done. First, local lockdown in Tegal City, which imposed in March 2020 and lasted for approximately 4 months, that signs that Tegal City becomes the first city in Indonesia who imposed local lockdown. And the second, Governor Regulation number 48 of 2020, enforced by the Governor of Special Region of Yogyakarta. And the third, road blocking in Surakarta during emergency PPKM on July 2021. There are some achievements and obstacles during this imposition of the regulations. From the achievements, we have the decline in the number of transmissions and the increase in the recovery of COVID-19 patients in several areas are the main achievement of the government policies. It is followed by increasing public awareness to maintain health. One of another research by another person shown us that some citizens in Manokan Loka, Surabaya increased their awareness to maintain health do some sports and sunbathing in order to gain some vitamin D. But of course, there are some obstacles that we need to consider. First, number of regulations is confusing for the public, and there are cases where central and regional regulations are out of sync. And second, confusion and controversy that is often present in every policy implemented by the government is influenced by the preparation that is less responsive, less mature, and lack of socialization to the citizen. Third, the government policies above to limit the activities and movement of the population sadly affect various community businesses to be hampered, especially from those who only have small businesses around them. And last, some people still did not obey the policies and health protocols, and it affects on momentarily increase the transmissions of COVID-19. Next, Salma Naila Tumuna will return to present some our new findings. Please, Salma.
Okay.
Okay. Next is politicization of COVID-19, early handling of pandemic and political polarization. We know that first case of COVID-19 in Indonesia started at 2nd of March 2020, and after that, government formulating several policies to tackle the outbreak. Like everyone know, we should like study, working, and then praying at home, restricting community mobility, and implementing strict health protocols in every line in society. The government has also begun to prepare health facilities such as hospital, laboratories, and medical personnel to deal with increasing number of victims in Indonesia. However, the influence of many policies by the government considered very slow compared to several countries that have begun to close access from other countries and tighten health protocols. Indeed, Indonesia itself has closed flight access to and from Hubei at January 27, 2020, and evacuate Indonesian citizens who living there. However, several decisions and statements by government officials are often controversial amid the COVID-19 outbreak in several countries, especially in Indonesia. In the beginning of COVID-19 pandemic, the Indonesia government was considered seems like not very serious to handling the outbreak because the number of victims continued to increase every day, especially before the discovery of cases in Indonesia. The government did not make a policy to prevent the virus from entering Indonesia, but made a program to increase tourism in Indonesia. This step taken by the government is intended to overcome the impact of COVID-19 outbreak in the tourism sector, which has decreased to the flight closure by several countries. The government has budgeted 298.5 billion rupiah with 72 billion rupiah to pay for the services of influencer and media to promote Indonesian tourism and attract foreign tourists to come. This program from the government certainly received mixed response from the community, given the declining tourism and who closest to the COVID-19 outbreak. But it was also the precaution considering that at that time, there were no cases COVID in Indonesia. There are several statements from doctors and then scientists that believe that the opening of tourists can increase the risk of pandemic. In addition to the considerable promotion of tourism at the beginning of the outbreak of COVID-19 in several countries, government officials who should have been concerned about the increase in patients from the COVID-19 virus gave rise inappropriate attitudes, such as many statements by several government officials who seem belittle the existence of the virus. Several controversial statements were made from officials, for the example, statement from coordinating Minister for Economy, Mr. Airlangga Hartarto, who said that coronavirus would be difficult to enter to Indonesia because complicated permits to entered Indonesia, and then a jogging statement was also conveyed by Mr. Budi Karya Sumadi, the Minister of Transportation, who said that Indonesia people would be immune of COVID-19 virus because they like to eat nasi kucing every day. Like, it's not a make sense, etc. This statement in the form of joke from some minister can confuse the public about the virus that is currently pandemic that meant reducing the level of trust and awareness of COVID-19. The path of handling COVID-19 carried out by central government with local governments such as DKI Jakarta provincial government, when viewed further, this situation make the polarization form after the 2019 general election, which had faded after Prabowo Subianto was appointed as Minister of Defense again visible. Opposition groups often favor Anies Baswedan, the governor of DKI Jakarta, in handling COVID-19, whose policies are considered better than central government. This narrative is based on how the policies taken by DKI Jakarta government at the beginning of the pandemic from the COVID-19 response team, even before the announcement of the first case in Indonesia, as an effort to prevent the entry of the virus into the Jakarta area. Before the formation of the team through government's instruction number 19, 2020, regarding increasing the risk of COVID-19 transmission in Jakarta. The polarization that occurred between the two groups, especially pro-President Joko Widodo and the opposition, especially supporters of Anies Baswedan, who have high electability based on survey in a lot of survey. Several figures expressed their opinions on the development handling COVID-19 in Indonesia. For the example, chairman of the 212 Alumni Brotherhood or 212, Slamet Ma'arif, believes that President Joko Widodo has failed to deal with COVID-19 in Indonesia because they always changing of PSBB policies, the civil society coalition consisting of lapor COVID-19, Indonesian Corruption Watch, YLBHI, LP3ES, and Lokataru revealed that Joko Widodo's government was considered a failure in dealing with COVID-19. This is based on the government failure to prevent the increase in the number of deaths to COVID-19 at the beginning of the pandemic. Okay, next, social media narration. In addition to the political polarization that still entrenched in Indonesian society, there are many narratives like in social media. Several hoax news is widely spread through the Twitter platform, Facebook, and then YouTube, and then in WhatsApp group. And one thing that is often discussed by many social media users is the origin of COVID-19, which is quite suspicious. Several conspiracy theories were also present to influence society, such as the coronavirus was deliberately created by pharmaceutical company that was allegedly used to kill millions of people, and this conspiracy was linked to Microsoft founder Bill Gates. And the other conspiracy, like coronavirus, is mission from global elite, like always said by Igede Ari Astana or Jerings, the drummer of SID band, in his Instagram post. Jerings often reveals that Corona is a business scheme and it's just a conspiracy carried out by global elite. Next, the role of public. The role of public is very important for educating the society about the virus. Community leaders such as religious leaders, government officials, celebrity, and scholars become people that the public can rally on in validating and providing example when the phenomenon occurs. However, in this COVID-19 pandemics, not a few public figures are at odds with the government's agenda. Many religious leaders have openly rejected the spreading hoax news about COVID-19 that has not been validated. Like, for the example, an Ustad and son of well-known ulama Kusnajih Maimun said in the video on the YouTube account that said that COVID-19 is a project initiated by Zionists to reduce the population to 500 million people. So there must be annihilation. After his controversial statement, Kusnajih Maimun again gave controversial statement about vaccine, which are mass killing tools. This statement is really troubling, considering how influential the Maimun Zubair, his dad, in Islamic dakwah and politics. In addition to religious leaders, there are also doctors who refuse to vaccinate and spread their opinions about COVID-19. Dr. Louis Owen had shocked the public after his tweet on Twitter went viral. The beauty specialist in anti-aging file revealed that the patient who died from COVID-19 did not die from the virus, but because of the interaction between the drugs that given by the doctor. To reduce negative stigma and confusing news that is often conveyed by religious leaders as well as public figures, the government collaborates with number figures in conducting socialization and appeals for the danger of COVID-19. For the example, Sheikh Ali Jaber and then Dr. Reisa Protasmoro. Okay, next, the conclusion.
Okay, so
Conclusion.
it can be concluded that decisive intervention to minimize the spread of the COVID-19 virus can reduce economic growth more severely than the minimal intervention scenario. However, if government intervention is minimal, the economic impact will be more severe and impact the long-term impacts. Economic and public health sector as the two main factors should be supported by synergy from other sectors, such as a conducive socio-political situation, especially related to implementing government policies to deal with COVID-19. The post-election national situation creates society's polarization within the presidential elections has not already abated yet. This polarization raises sharp identity politics between the two supporters, although both represents the majority of Muslims. It is also necessary to consider other aspects such as the significant role of social media during the presidential election and the change in the religious authority of institution to become more communal, even individual. Although the majority can accept government policies as a solution, mere appeals are not enough to enforce the rules, but also require firmness in the field by considering the principles of justice for all parties. And that's all for me and Salman Natul Muna presentation. And now it's for questions and responses session. Please, Mrs. I'm sorry.
Okay,
Mrs. Maswahatun, the time is yours.
Okay, thank you very much for your delivering presentations. So great presentation. From this, we know that the political polarization in the elections in 2019 makes as to be the aspect effect, makes the effect of the COVID more difficult to solve because there are many people that know difficult to receive the policy from government, This is a good discussion, and maybe all of the participant can ask after all of the presenter deliver the presentation. Okay, the next presenter or speaker is Mr. Martin from the Undip University. He will deliver article by the title Managing Joint Security Indonesian-China Cooperation in Dealing with the COVID-19 Pandemic. Let's for Mr. Martin. Have you joined this forum? Hello, Mr. Martin. Bapak Martin from the Undip University, Diponegoro University.
Hello, ma'am. Can you hear me?
Oh, yes. Okay. Ibu Ratu Fadilah.
Yes, I'm here to deliver the
Okay.
presentation by Mr. Martin Hanura.
Okay.
First of all, can you see my presentation at the moment, please?
Yes, we can see clearly for your PPT.
And is my voice sounds crystal clear?
Yes, so clearly.
Okay then. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Ratu Fadila Nirao. I'm an international relations student from Diponegoro University. Here I'm going to deliver our discussion, our research about managing joint security, Indonesia-China cooperation in dealing with the COVID-19 pandemic that are researched and written by Martin Hanura, Henminisus Yaningsih, Tri Cahyotomo, and Ratu Fadila Nirao. First of all, these outlines of the discussion will be divided into 3 parts. First of all, there will be introduction and discussion with content with 3 points, and then the conclusion. And we're going to start by the introduction part. The outbreak of COVID-19 in China at the end of 2019, which then followed by the widespread of this virus to various parts of the world, in fact did present an unexpected challenge for the global community. It is undeniable that China, as the first country to fight against the virus, even fell in the early period of the emergence of COVID-19. Several countries reached out by sending several medical supplies, and Indonesia was one of those countries that showed their support to China in the early period of COVID-19. But when COVID-19 began to enter and spread in Indonesia, it was China's government turn to provide assistance to Indonesia by sending medical equipment and stuffs. Until now, both China and Indonesia realized that in 2021, which is still overshadowed by COVID-19 pandemic, that caused a serious impact on the global economy. Seeing this condition, Indonesia and China will focusing their cooperation on economic and health issues, especially regarding to the vaccines, to the medical equipment, and to the medicines. The focus of the 2 countries, which emphasize the cooperation in the health sector, has the main goal of immediately restoring the economic condition of each country. This is because because of the limited human activities, our economy reducing even a recession rate. And China's economic growth rate in 2020 was recorded by 2.3%, and this growth rate is the lowest number since the Chinese economy reform in 1970s. And as it's known that China has risen to become one of global economic power and in fierce competitions with United States. Therefore, to strengthen its positions, China tries to expand their market by establishing good relations with neighboring countries and ASEAN countries. And in the Asian region, Indonesia plays a very important role as China's partner in trade. The situation created by the 2 countries, whereas China needs Indonesia as one of its trading partner in ASEAN, and meanwhile Indonesia needs China for imports of goods from China and makes China their main foreign market. The negative impact on the economic sectors due to COVID-19 also makes China Belt and Road Initiative projects unlikely to be continued. Therefore, China is now focusing their attention on Health Silk Road, which emphasizes health program for BRI's countries. The cooperations between China and Indonesia in health sector, such as cooperation in vaccines distribution, can also increase China's responsibility as the first country where COVID-19 emerged. The spread of COVID-19 to various parts of the world has contributed to building a negative image of China in international community. This is due to China's failure to prevent the spread of the virus to all over the world. And this cooperation that created by the 2 countries also was carried out in hope protecting China from the bad image and suppressing anti-China sentiment. And now we will begin to discuss our 3 main points on the discussion. The first point were forms of cooperations between China and Indonesia in handling COVID-19 pandemic. There's 2 main forms that were established by this cooperation. The first one is vaccine diplomacy. As Indonesian Defense Minister Prabowo Subianto revealed that China government was ready to help dealing COVID-19 pandemic in Indonesia. Right now, Indonesia is cooperating with China in the development of COVID-19 vaccines. And this effort to develop vaccines by bilateral cooperation with China's government are held through Sinovac company. And the second form was aid for medical equipment and personal protective equipment, or PPE. Since the early days of the pandemic, Indonesia and China have collaborated on health for the providing diagnosis, therapeutic, and vaccine tools. The first batch of health logistic assistance that are provided by China's government arrived at Halim Perdana Kusuma Airport on Monday, March 2020. This assistance consists of COVID-19 test kits and other medical equipment. And also, Ambassador Xiaoqian said that some of the second batch aid from Chinese government had already arrived in Indonesia. He also added that his country had provided assistance into various sectors of Indonesia through various channels, including political parties, local government, and even companies in Indonesia. And our second discussion will be discuss about the development of China-Indonesia bilateral cooperation in handling the COVID-19 pandemic. As previously explained, China and Indonesia diplomatic relations can be said to have progressed to prevent the spread of COVID-19 and to stop the damages that caused by COVID-19. Since the beginning of the pandemic, the two countries have sent signal of a very good collaboration to overcome the crisis. As China is going through the most difficult times battling the pandemic, President Jokowi has expressed his support and sympathy through a telephone conversation with President Xi Jinping. Indonesian government also sent medical supplies to China using a plan which was then also used to evacuate Indonesian citizens from Wuhan. China has been continuously monitoring the development of COVID-19 situations in Indonesia and has provided the support assistance needed by Indonesian government to fight COVID-19. And still from the health sector, the collaboration between China and Indonesia can also seen by the successful of 3 video conferences related to COVID-19, which was attended by China's and Indonesian medical experts. The first conference was held on April 2020, which discussed about the diagnosis and treatment of COVID-19 patients. And the second online conference was held on May 2020 with agenda of discussion related to technical issues such as vaccine development, treatment of COVID-19 patients, and even hospital management. And the third online conference was held on June 2020, which discussed about the treatment of COVID-19 patients using traditional medicines. And the relations between China and Indonesia even more successful with the cooperation in procurement of vaccines that was agreed by the two countries in August 2020. Indonesia has made 2 agreements related to the vaccines. The first agreement contains a commitment regarding the availability of a supply for COVID-19 vaccines of 40 million doses from November 2020 to March 2021. And while the second agreement contains a commitment to extend the cooperation until the end of 2021, which Sinovac company committed to provide biopharma company access to purchase more vaccines. In addition to cooperation in health sector, Indonesia and China cooperation also established in other fields such as economy, infrastructure, and technology. Cooperation in this field, is intended as a step to overcome and recover from the economy pandemic impact. Several collaborative projects that are being carried out by the two countries, such as Jakarta-Bandung high-speed rail, have reportedly made steady progress after it delayed. And the two countries agreed to support the economic growth through digital sectors such as 5G, artificial intelligence, education, and even technological innovation. Even when the current global situation is being shrouded by the COVID-19 crisis and hampers many diplomatic and cooperative activities, Indonesia and China relations are actually on even stronger path. And now we're going to see our third point where what is the advantage and the disadvantage of the China-Indonesia bilateral cooperation in handling COVID-19 pandemic? First, if we see it from Indonesian side, it is the advantage are definitely can be felt from the health sectors because Indonesian medical equipment needs are actually almost fulfilled. And with all medical medical logistical assistance that provided by the China government, it has certainly helped Indonesian COVID-19 patients to be recovered soon. And while the benefits that contained by China with the provision of the health, logistic assistance, and vaccines could be seen as China efforts to slowly restore its good image, starting from the region first and hoping to make it internationally. When Indonesia started to use Sinovac vaccines from China, especially when the first person who tried the vaccines was President Joko Widodo and then followed by other politicians, it was seen as China's marketing strategy for their vaccines. This way, other Muslim majority countries will begin to be interested and trusted the safety and the halalness of China's COVID-19 vaccines. And the benefits for the future have also begun to be seen, because with the increase of intensive cooperations between China and Indonesia, it brings Indonesia and China relation to even become closer than before. This makes cooperation in other economies and in other fields such as economy increasing and even heading in more clear directions. While Indonesia's closer relations also Indonesia's and China's closer relations also bring an impact to infrastructure development and employment. This is related to the investment by China in Belt and Road Initiative, which is Jakarta-Bandung High-Speed Railway. And from this infrastructure development project, it is also provide future benefit for Indonesia, which is improving the quality of public transportation, reducing pollutions, and also attract foreign investors. And while if we're looking at what is the disadvantage then from this cooperation that held by the both country, if we look at the disadvantage, it's more likely about the long-term losses that will be felt by Indonesian government as a result of China's Belt and Road Initiative projects. It's first that Indonesia will continue to depend on China, especially China's assistance, and Indonesia debt will become even more and more. And the use of yuan that China use in investing and trading in Indonesia market will potentially make Indonesian face risk of surge of imported goods from China, and especially when China tends to devalue their currency. And this will cause Indonesian local product to compete with China's product in the domestic market. And what is the disadvantage from China's side? Actually, the disadvantage from China's side is almost none, because this assistance that provided by China, this help that provided by China, it is seen as an investment for the future prosperity for China's. And so from our research, that we can conclude that COVID-19 virus, which started in Wuhan, China, at the end of 2019, has now spread throughout the world, including Indonesia. This causes the existing country to experience significant change in almost every aspect, especially health and economy. This led to China and Indonesia intensifying both cooperation to handle the COVID-19 pandemic and revitalize the economy of the two countries. The cooperation carried out by the two countries led to closer relations between the two, and it is undeniable that the cooperation between the two helped Indonesia to rise from the COVID-19 pandemic. It has also led China's reputation improving again and becoming a market for China's Sinovac vaccine, which previously were doubted for its halalness and effectiveness. The closer relations between Indonesia and China led to an increase in economic and infrastructure cooperation, which slowly increased the pace of trade between the two countries. The BRI's project, which was originally postponed, is also relearned and causing the use of yuan to increase. Unfortunately, Indonesia's debt to China are also increasing due to various health, economy, infrastructure projects being carried out. This is also increases Indonesia's dependence on China's aid and the increase of yuan in Indonesian marketing, making Indonesia face the risk of a surge in imported goods from China, which causes Indonesian local product to compete with China's product in the domestic market. That's all my presentation today. Thank you so much for the attention.
Okay, thank you very much for Ratu Fadilah for your delivering your presentations. Okay. The continued presenter is Mas Kenan, he delivered article, the title, ill prepared Indonesian government for dealing with the COVID-19 pandemic and its effect on the people. Okay, to Mas Kinan, time is yours.
Hello.
Hello.
Is
Yeah,
my
Mas
voice can
Kinan.
be heard?
Yes, your voice clear.
Okay, I'm gonna start my presentation.
Okay, Kinan.
Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon to Honorable Bu Elis as Vice Dean, Honorable Bu Mas Rotun, and everyone in this room. I hope you are all in great health and great conditions. First of all, I want to express my gratitude towards everyone that made this particular event to happen and run successfully. I also wanted to appreciate anyone here because I am able to proudly present my works to you all. So before I present my work, let me introduce myself. My name is Kenan Wisaksena Udawan. I'm a student of Universitas Islam Negeri Wali Songo Semarang, majoring sociology. Now in this presentation, I am going to present my study about ill-prepared Indonesian government for dealing with COVID-19 pandemic and its effect on people. So as you can see here, the outline of this presentation will start with background, which we're going to discuss about base assumption or hypothesis. And then we're going to continue the research, which is research objective, methods that used in this study, and finally the result. The presentation will end with conclusion of the study and writer's point of view about the conclusion. So let's start with basic assumption. As we know that the pandemic that occurred in 2019 is a problem that occurs on a global scale. In other words, the COVID-19 pandemic caused by coronavirus had a significant impact on various aspects of life, which progressively and forcefully changed our life. The COVID pandemic has a serious impact on various aspects of Indonesian people's life, including us as Indonesian, one of which threatens people's life and makes normal daily activities such as office works, fields works, academic activities, and market commerce-related activities disrupted. As the result of this condition, people's economy like us and welfare condition declined as the rate of unemployment and work dismissal increased. So based on that, this paper is based on the
Okay, for
assumption or
Kinan,
hypothesis,
please
which
speak
states
loudly, or maybe you can near your microphone. Nearly.
hello, hello,
Yes, yes, okay.
clear.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm gonna speak closer to my phone.
Okay. Thank you. You can
Okay, I'm
continue.
gonna continue this paper. Yeah, paper, like I mentioned before, is based on assumption or hypothesis, which states that one of the reasons of COVID-19 spread rate and its following effect and the effect of ill-prepared government, specifically on rules and regulations, which I'm going to discuss specifically in this study about PPKM regulations. To support my hypothesis, there is several arguments that I used, which is the first, there's no regulation in Indonesian rules or laws that stated that regulates anything about pandemic prior to COVID-19 pandemic. This indicates that every rules and regulations about this pandemic, COVID-19 pandemic, are made as an emergency regulation, which is its implementation is rather sudden and forceful. Because of this, most of people like us, majority of people did not ready or even understood the regulations. But as we know it, we forced to follow the regulation nonetheless. And then the second is the line between government that cause biases occurred on regulations implementation indicates that the government is not well prepared to the pandemic even. And then, because of the regulation are made as an emergency regulations, there is a lot of contradictions between rules on PPKM rules. There is also no clarity about penalties, subsidy, durations, and action of the regulation. It also constantly changing, whether it's name, rules, policy, which cause more confusion. And then the last argument is the cyber threat, such as fake news, conspiracies, hacks, phishing, and any other threat related to COVID-19 pandemic crisis as the result of lack of action from the government. So the objective of this study, as you can see on my materials, is the first is to examine and explain the correlation between government of the Republic of Indonesia regulations, pandemic effect, and people's condition post-pandemic. To examine and explain the effectiveness of the regulation against COVID-19 pandemic and its following threats such as cyber threat, economical condition decline, disbelief, confusion, and other social problems. And then the last is to answer the hypothesis which stated before, as you can see in my materials. So for the methods, this study discusses the effect that cause rapid spread of COVID-19 based on qualitative research with descriptive approach and general perspective. Base data are sourcing from several studies with similar case of study or the case of study is still related to the hypothesis prior to this study. And then the results are taken from data drawn by observation and deep interview. So in this study, there is several results. As you can see here, there is result 1, which is regulation effectiveness. The results shown that on August 1st, 2021, where PPKM proved that it decreased the COVID-19 related case for about 2%, 2.2 to be exact, daily with increasing trend for up to overall 48%. This means that this result leads to decreasing bed occupation rate or BOR by up to 70%. Jadi itu masuknya ke rumah sakit seperti itu. It also decreases red zones in Jawa Barat, West Java, and DKI Jakarta, which is before PPKM, almost all cities, or I can say all cities are red zones. After PPKM policy applied, there are only 12 cities, currently 12 cities, with high risk to normal risk of COVID-19. And then the next result is in Central Java, Jawa Tengah, PPKM policy are yet to achieve its target, which is originally targeted at 50% decrease in people's activity. but sadly still proven far from target. So what causing of this? Implementation of PPKM policy in Semarang, according to Central Java Governor Pak Ganjar Pranowo, are not consistent. The reason of this is people think that the policy are no longer applied. And then there is no instruction whatsoever about the PPKM from the city government apparatus. Despite of this, the rate of the COVID-19 related case were decreased. And then the PPKM policy only applied, sadly, perfectly in Java and Bali regions, especially in Jakarta and cities surrounding it, such as Bogor, Depok, Tangerang, South Tangerang, and Bekasi, or as we know as Jabodetabek. There is still a lot of confusion about PPKM policy. In Salatiga City, Kabupaten Semarang, and Semarang City, where this study was conducted, data shows that there is a lot of people and government apparatus still confused and feel uncertain about the regulations. So, is there any side effect of this regulation? Of course, there is. The first is because the regulation regulates that every work should be done at home, including academic activities. Students should conduct their academic activities online. This causes a problem, which is the student from isolated place are unreached by the internet facilities providers, which make them harder to do academic activities. This leads to often the study materials are unable to reach the students, or even the materials cannot be reached by student at all. And then for the next effect is Indonesian economic growth are declining by 2.4% as the result of COVID-19 pandemic on 2020 to 2021. These conditions are caused by declining productivity from formal and informal fields of works and rising of unemployment rate. This is contradictory condition, which is prior to that, data shown that the economy rate actually increased by 0.5% annually. So if we think logically, PPKM policy decreases worker capacity by up to 50%, and there's some cases that it decreases about 70%. If we think it logically, less worker or producer means less production, right? Which leads to less selling and less profit and benefit. In order to minimize expenditure, a lot of producer, whether it's a company or something like that, need to dismiss part of its employees, even half of its employees, this is the reason I believe that leading in increase of unemployment rate. So we arrive at the conclusion based on the result of analyze that fact and data that gathered and shown prior to this. PPKM policy, which is the government of Republic of Indonesia's policy, is proven successful in order to decrease COVID-19 and its related case, whether it's red zones, whether it's spreading rate by quite significant percentage. But even though it is proven successful at suppressing COVID-19 spread, this regulation has serious effect on people, like I mentioned before. There's a lot of things like it is sudden, it is forceful, it is burdening. So I think it might oppress people more than just the COVID-19 pandemic itself. Like as we know, COVID-19 pandemic is very big and problematic, but there is also other problems like economy, like academical problems, or work problems, market problem, commerce problem, and any other problems. And I believe that PPKM policy just because it is very forceful, it might oppress the people. And then the comments, based on my point of view, according to this theory, it can be concluded that government preparation in order to deal with several problems, including COVID-19 pandemic, is very crucial. It is proven that emergency policies like PPKM are not the best solution because it is sudden, forceful, very burdening, and it might oppress people as well. People like me, people like you, people like all of us might be oppressed by these policies. So with better preparation, government can produce regulation with hopefully better result and less side effect, like I mentioned before. So from that statement, I believe it can be concluded that PPKM policy might not be the best regulation to deal with COVID-19 in Indonesia. Okay, that's all from me. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much for your presentation, Kenan. Okay, the fourth presentation from me, Papa Amin Fareh. He will deliver article, the title, Deradicalization in Central Java during the COVID-19 pandemic. Okay, to Bapak Amin Fareh, time is yours.
Good. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
So the point, my title is Deradicalization in Central Java during the COVID-19 pandemic. Presented Mai and Mas Endang and Mrs. Riri, Muhammad Nuklir, and Ms. Nafisa. Okay, the research background. The development of radicalism network in Indonesia has been much witnessed. However, this success has not been declared the end of the threat of radical understanding in Indonesia. Thus, as necessary an antidote to radical understanding that leads to acts of terror, namely deradicalization. Research in 220 from June to August, police arrested less 72 suspect terrorism in 13 Indonesian regions. Second, 13 region includes West Sumatra, Bali, Central Sulawesi, East Java, Central Java, West Java, Riau, Jakarta, South Kalimantan, West Nusa Tenggara, West Kalimantan, Maluku, and Gorontalo. The three in 2021, after the COVID-19 pandemic, security forces have at last prevented tourism group in various regions ahead of the Independence Day of the Republic of Indonesia with a title 1530 supports suspect terrorism. So the phenomenon of radicalism and religion-based terrorism movement post-reform become serious and interesting to discuss because in this openness, all elements of society are free to act. And the phenomenon of religion radicalism movement boils done not only in the global context, but Indonesia is also used soft net for radical group. The radical religion is two factor, and one factor is discourse. Radicalism is radical attitude that is implemented into the truth, teaching, and ideology that are believed to be. And the second factor, behavior seen and manifested with acts of the terror. The pandemic time challenge for government that they are conducting de-radicalization program. Digital threats of radicalism and terrorism that the cycle of massive radical movement are created in Ramadan, the celebration of the big day and most resiliency ahead of the Independent Day of the Republic of Indonesia. There needs to be comparison between institution and community element for the optimization of de-radicalization program. The focus my study and the two item, one and optimization of the de-radicalization program to the structural realm within the contact reform on the performance of BNPT or FKPT. And the second item of optimization of the de-radicalization program to not structural that implies the role of religion organizations such as NO and Muhammadiyah, non-government organization, as well as scholars, region, leader, Kiai, Ustad, who together on the spirit of religious moderation to contract radical ideas that led of acts terrorism in Central Java. Derogation program in Indonesian and two factor, and the other understand the phenomenon of false church and religion is none other than the factor of interpretation and understanding of religion that are not operated to trigger the emergence of fundamentalist Muslim personalities that leads to extreme behavior toward others who do not fit the group. The second, terror event that religion radicalism group often carry out a religion holiday ahead of the holy month Ramadan and the Independent Day of Republic Indonesia. The incident of these acts to terror inspired the Indonesian government to understanding radical, namely by de-radicalization. And then BNPT main text and function according to law, number 5 of 128, the five item, yes. So, mining of the deradicalization. The mining and deradicalization as one way to overcome radical understanding that leads to acts of terror. And the second, deradicalization is part of counter-narrative strategy related to radical understanding. According to John Hartgen, deradicalization is part of the process of changing radical understanding. The last, deradicalization is a process of building ideology, transforming it from radical to not radical. The deradicalization in Central Java, my title this article for item 1, the presence of FPKPT Central Java is needs to contract the radical ideas that arise in community. And second, FKPT Central Java has collaborated with all elements of the society to parent terrorism. And the threats student involvement in the prevention of terrorism is part of short method to provide the public with a early understanding of the danger of radicalism and terrorism. And the last factor, another effort that FKPT Central Java has made into synergies, educated and inject ideology towards institution with young millennial. The role of religion, organization, and understanding radicalism. One, the participation of community, such as ulama, kiai, ustad, is critical to stem radicalism. The second, the role of scholars, religion, later ends to provide an understanding of the courage it by not affirming the values of diversity and nationality. And nationality. Offer of religion organizations such as NO, Muhammadiyah, with dawah in various media, asset control as efforts to reduce the spread of radical understanding in institution. The four, empowering pesantren institution, house of worship and religion education institution as effective pledge to deliver Islamic pledge message and the love on the Republic of Indonesia. Protect the belief on the Ummah from foreign provocation in seeming and pattern of the terrorism recruitment in the community. The conclusion is my article. The one, the series of acts of religion terrorism for 121 proved that Indonesian deradicalization program has not found the right formula to prevent radicalism. And the second, NO and NO's Muhammadiyah religion later play an active role in contracting radicalism in Central Java. Both use structural and cultural approach strategies. The involvement of religion organization as needs to ground the spirit of religion, moderation, and the current of radicalism. I think enough. Saya kembalikan Mbak Roha. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much for your delivering presentation, Bapak Amin Fareh. Okay, all of the speaker has delivered the presentations. May I conclude all of presentation for the speaker. The first is the government filed to solve the problem of the COVID in Indonesia is on several public opinions, which were shown by several rejections made by the community against government regulations. This rejection is further strengthened by the political polarization in a society that is still ongoing even though the election is over. Identity politics is also getting stronger in the rural, so which is also the reason why the people don't follow government recommendation or the regulation of government. And the second presenter, in situation in pandemic situation, makes Indonesian and China cooperation is stronger, especially in medicine. Medicine is about vaccine, yeah, Sinovac, and maybe the corporations between Indonesia and China increasing is in economic. Okay, and the third speaker from Kinan actually relate with the first speaker, ya, Bapak Mada dan Mbak Salma. This is one of the policy from the government, especially in the in Central Java governor, province, that PPKM. Yeah, PPKM. Especially PPKM is not one of the good policy because in contradictive regulation, but that policy or regulation is effective enough to solve this problem, especially in Central Java. But Kenan said that every regulation need long time, not directly can solve the problem. And the last from Papa Amin Fari, that actually in this pandemic makes many effects. One of that is about terrorism. So delegalizations should okay, need solve. Yeah, one of is about maybe moderations educations. Okay, all of the presenter has delivered the speech. May the present audience can ask questions to all of the speaker. Okay, who wanna ask maybe? What? Hello? Okay, is there questions from this session? Okay, for Ibu Misbah Zulfa Elizabeth, she is our dean. But please have to unmute.
Okay, thank you very much, Mbak Roha, for the time for me to ask some question to the presenter. The first, I want to orient my question to Mas Kinan. Yeah, what Mas Kinan try to focus on his research is the ill management of the government in solving the problem related to COVID-19. Yeah, Mas Kinan tried. It's a good research, I think, and it is still going on, right, Mas Kinan? So, based on your observation, on your preliminary research, what is the main problem that you can find in the management of the government that cause the ill management? Is it the system or the human resources condition or any other reason? So it is important question, I think, for following your continuing your research. And then, what do you think about the solving that problem? If you find the main reason of the problem, that is for Mas Kinan, and then for Mbak Mas Mada and Mbak who? Yeah, Mas Mada. Yeah, and Mbak Salma. Yeah, that is an interesting research too. Yeah. And my question is, if you try to see the problem using the theory of communication, is it possible that what delivered in the speech, it is something that not get to the audience? Because based on Mahrabian theory, if we say something to person, there is usually there is only 40% of the message get out to the audience. I'm worried that what government talk about whatever, because of the limitedness of the perspective of the our community as the audience, so the message not get to the audience. So that is why there will be any misunderstanding within it. And if you find out the process of misunderstanding, do you find any variable or any reason that make the misunderstanding? And then for Pa Amin, yeah, is it any explanation from your research that COVID-19 give the, what is it, give the point in making radicalization become higher? That is all my question to this forum. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Ibu. Okay, for the speaker, who wanna answer first? The first to Maskinan. Hello, Maskinan. Do you want to directly answer question from Ibu Misbah Zulfa Elizabeth?
I need more time, please. Can I have more time? Just a minute.
Okay. 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 For Mas Mada and Mbak Salma. Hello, Mas Mada and Mbak Salma. Do you still here?
Yes, I'm here, Miss Maswatun.
Okay.
Okay, so if you permit me to answer, I'll answer. And thank you, Mrs. Misbah Sulfa, for your question. And here we will try to answer as possible as we can. So what I understand from the previous question you asked to us is that what actually makes the miscommunication between government and the citizens, if we look it again from the perspective of communication and the Speech Act itself. And the second is there any variable which cause this miscommunication? Okay, so in our argumentation, first, what makes the communication become misunderstood by some citizens is because, in our opinion, the model of government speech act to the citizen is not assertive, which government or speaker needs any acceptance from the receiver, or neither it's also directive, which contain direct command from the speaker to the receiver. It's more like commissive. Commissive is basically the combination of assertive and directive. But here, as Salmanai has explained before, the response from the speaker is the main important key to judge whether the speech act of this commissive type has a good response or not. And because of the chaotic, in my opinion, because of the chaotic and democracy condition in Indonesia, of course, it cannot be understood or it cannot be received well by all of people. Maybe only some of us can receive it positively, but others cannot. It is affected by, as we explained before, polarization of politics, especially after 2019 pemilu or 2019 election. I'm sorry, where our people is basically divided into some political faction with different political background and different, well, let's say different goals and ideology or idea. It is the most important variable why speech act become misunderstood by some people or speech act cannot be received very well by some people. It is sometimes not because people cannot take it logically or because people cannot see it something logical. It's because people see it as something that the heart or the sentiment cannot accept, because it's just simple because my opponent say something that different from me, therefore I cannot accept it. It's not because my opponent say something that actually wrong that cannot be explained so empirically that I cannot receive it because it's scientifically or it's logically nonsense. So that's my question, and I'm sorry because I know that it's not that perfect, but maybe Salma Nailatul Munak, will you add my answers or maybe it's enough? Salma?
I think it's enough.
Okay. Thank you, Miss Masko Hatun, for your time. And Mrs. Misbah, if you have any feedback for us, please say it. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Mas Mada. Maybe Bu Misbah can quick respond from Mas Mada answer.
Okay, yes, enough, Mbak Roha.
Okay, thank you, Ibu. For Mas Kinan, have you ready to answer question from Ibu Misbah?
Yes, I'm ready to answer it. So the question is, what is the main problem that I can find on the management of government that caused ill? I mentioned that my study mentioned ill in the government, right? And what is my resolution to solve that problem? Like I mentioned before in my presentation, the main reason is the unpreparedness of the government itself. I believe there are never think about this kind of problem that can be occurred, of problem this big. I say that pandemic, as we know, is a severe problem, but I believe that there are problems that are severe as this. Things like pandemic, which involving health and our life as a human, in my opinion, were not seen as a serious threat by the government prior to this. This cause government might not take it so serious, like, what is pandemic? It is so rare, right? Like the last time there is a pandemic, there is Black Plague and Spanish flu, which occurred more than 100 ago. So emergencies like policies like PPKM, in my opinion, are the proof that we, or especially the government, never thought about this before, never thought about there is a chance that pandemic can be occurred. Even though it is rare, the chance is never zero. I mean, it has the chance to repeat again, to occur again in the future, even though it's now occurred. I believe that it can be occurred again in the future. So my resolution is, my answer is to this problem is we need to think seriously on these matters. The sentimental value like this pandemic, well, even though pandemic is very rarely happens, but like I said before, the chance is never zero. So that's it. We need to think about how we anticipate something like this, something severe problem like this in the future, as efficient as possible, so we can evade side effect like I mentioned before in my presentation. That's my answer, Miss Bu Alice.
Okay. Okay,
Okay,
thank you.
thank you, Mas Kinan. Okay, for Bapak Amin Farih. Hello, Bapak Amin Farih. You can hear my voice? Hello? Are you still here in our forum? Or maybe the team of Pak Amin Farih? Hello?
Mas Endang nggak? Mas Endang yang jawab.
Okay. Okay, Mas Endang, you can answer a question from Ibu. Repeat the question for Pak Amin. Okay. Mas Endang, you can hear my voice?
Udah dicek belum, Mas?
Okay.
Okay. You repeat a question, please, Miss Basil Elizabeth, or moderatory, Miss Maslatun.
Okay, sorry. Actually, I didn't write down the question from Ibu Misbah. Maybe Ibu Misbah can help us to repeat your question.
Vaksin.
Okay, thank you for the technical obstacle here. Yeah, for the researchers on the radicalization, my question is that is there any data related to the effect of COVID-19 into the spirit of radicalization? And if there, what is in your perspective or opinion, the reason of that fact or data? Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your question about the radicalization in the Central Java. I think about article just a pandemic COVID-19, and now only one struggle the media platform in Kompas and Deticom and other media in Indonesia. In Central Java, I think we have data just more data I think in the Central Java about phenomena radicalism in Central Java. In media platform, many data I think in Central Java just now 25 in Kompas.com. But in Indonesia, I think longs 25 in Central Java. Enough?
Okay.
Okay, thank you for Mas Endang answering question from Ibu Misbah. Okay, is there question? Hello, audience. Is there questions? Hello, the audience. Okay. Okay, because no one asks again. So thank you very much for joining our forum. This is the good discussion about democracy and militarism in past COVID-19 pandemic. And thank you for all of the speaker and all of the audience, especially Ibu Misbah Zulfa Elizabeth as a Dean of the Faculty Social and Political Sciences, Wali Songo Islamic State University, accompany us until finish. And please forgive me if you all find many mistakes in my deliver us to be moderator, and I hope that this discussion is not stopped here, but we can discuss another time and another occasions. And the last I say, wallahul muwaffiq ila aqwamit thoriq. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much for joining our forum.
Tepuk tangan untuk Bu
Give
Dekan
applause
dan
together.
Mas Roha.
Thank you very much. Okay, for Mbak Kartika.
Yeah, thank you, Mbak Mas Rohatus. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much for all presenters and participants who have attended this session. Alhamdulillah, it means that we have completed all the sessions in the first international conference on democracy and social transformations, or ICANN Demost 2021. Now I would like to request Ibu Dr. Miss Zulfa Elizabeth MPU as the Dean of the Social and Political Sciences, State Islamic University, Wali
Just
Songo.
right.
Oh,
There
yeah.
is still a panel proceeding in panel 10. Panel
Okay.
10 has not been finished.
Oh, all right, Ibu. Okay. Then, okay, we are really sorry for all presenters and participants that it seems that we still have to wait for another groups of presentation sessions to join us in this main room. Thank you very much, and kindly wait for the closing ceremony that will be held in a moment.
Still, okay. We would like to say thank you for all the presenter for the informative and interesting talk and the audience for your active participation. Hopefully the presentation will be beneficially for everybody. Thank you for your attention. I remember at the end we have a closing ceremony and the link of certificate for presenter will be given at group WhatsApp. Okay, thank you for your attention. Good afternoon. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you very much for all presenters and participants who have attended the session. And it means that we have completed all the sessions in this first conference on democracy and social transformations, or Demost 2021. And then now I would like to request Ibu Dr. Misbah Zulfa Elizabeth M.Hu as the Dean of Social and Political Sciences, State Islamic University, Wali Songo, to deliver closing remarks. Ibu Dr. Misbah Zulfa Elizabeth, time is yours.
Okay, thank you very much for Mbak Kartika for the time. Yes, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. The Excellency, all the Vice Dean of the Faculty of Social Science. Head of the department, head of the laboratory of the Faculty of Social and Political Science, head of administrative section, all the lecturers in this faculty, and also the great committee of this conference, also the honorable the presenters and attendants in this conference. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin wassalatu wassalamu ala asrofil anbiya'i wal mursalin wa ala alihi washabihi ajmain amma ba'du. One thing that I want to say that I would say thanks to Allah that the first international conference on democracy and social transformation with the title of Humanity in the Changing of Global Politic and Social Landscape in Post-COVID-19 completed this afternoon. This 2 days conference is very, very invaluable academical moment, I think, because in this event discussed more than 70 papers from wide array of horizon of the perspective and discipline. Also, we make offense of the theme on humanity, political identity, security, environment, and gender, and the other. Yeah. We consider that the design of this conference in this style. With the first day, we asked for many invited speakers and the experts coming from around the world, on which we may listening to and internalize their insight. And in the second day, we prepare the session for all speakers in order to disseminate their ideas of writing. I think it's a good design. In the first day, we may get the lectures. Also, all of the presenter is a lecturer, so we need the lecture. And it is we feel thirsty for this time to catch the idea from the expert. And in the second day, we have a wide array of horizon of research that did by the presenters. So it is very important event. And with this important, I'm sure that it is unfortunate for those who have not enough time to take part in this conference, because the reach of academical forum is this. And this conference will not be this great without the attendance of all the presenters, of course, and also the participants. We will be longing for such academical event like this, I'm sure. Once again, as I mentioned in the welcoming speech, that we need this kind of academical event in order to sharpen our academical sensitivity to form those discussions. There will be many writing, both in the form of writing in proceeding or in journal article. Factually, we as Indonesian academicians have the problem in the publication tradition. We are concerned about this. That is why this kind of event is very important for becoming the trigger for academicians to do research, to make a report, to disseminate and publish the research result. And I'm sure once we continually do this habit, and together we will change our former tradition toward a new academician tradition. Based on this consideration, we will try hard to make this conference to become annual conference. So all the presenter at next time, next year, when you cut the term icon Demost, you must remember the Faculty of Social Science, State Islamic University Wali Songo, with its anniversary at September. And you may prepare your report of your research and writing that you may present in the next icon Demost on September 2022. Finally, I personally, and on behalf of the head of Faculty of Social and Political Science, State Islamic University Wali Songo, would like to say once again to all presenter, participant, and committee, thank you for the support. Also, thank you for the support of the head and management of this faculty, as well as the university, and all the partners, as well as, once again, the committee of this conference. I personally, and as the faculty leader, apologize once any shortcoming in the management of this conference. Let's close our conference by saying Hamdalah. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. And the end, berjalan-jalan ke kota lama, menunggu kereta hendak ke Jakarta. 2 hari kita berdiskusi bersama untuk menghidupkan semangat akademik kita. Pohon jati, itu di depan ada pohon jati. Pohon jati tumbuh besar dan tinggi. Daunnya lebar dan hijau berseri. Meneliti, membuat laporan, menulis, dan presentasi. Di tahun depan kita ketemu lagi. Di ngalian ada karonsi. Cukup sekian, terima kasih. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
What a very fruitful closing remarks, Ibu Miss Zulfa Elizabeth. Okay, the closing speech from Ibu Misbah marks the very end of the conference. Thank you for all contribution given for the success of this event, and we hope to see you again in the next event. Finally, wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much for all.
Thank you.
Bu Ernita, you still there?